Hello, folks. I want to make a video today. It's kind of in my full retard series. This is a full patriot retard. Patriotism to me is pretty unctuous. Like, I find it pretty gross, and I'm not a patriot at all. I don't get wispy when I hear proud to be an American. I don't particularly like anything that Toby Keith does. I don't like the red, white, and blue. I don't think it stands for the same thing that many people think it stands for, because I actually know history. But there's this thing that I heard on the radio. It's called Old Glory Drop-Off Zones. I don't know if they have this in your community, if you're lucky enough. Alaska is a pretty military industrialized state. We have, I don't know how many military bases here. There's one in town that's like one of the biggest. They're all over the state. We're wholly dependent on federal money. For every dollar in taxes we pay, I think we get $1.88 back in tax money, in federal tax money. We're like the highest subsidied state by far. So, because you got to pay people to live here. that oil industry has to be protected by the military up here, and then you have to have, it's all a game. Anyway, but these old glory drop-off zones where you take your American flag and it can be respectfully put to destroyed, whatever you want to call it. It can be respectfully retired. It's a piece of cloth. It's a fabric. It's 3 colors. I don't understand this kind of level of propaganda that could affect people. But it's the old Goebbels thing about propaganda has to be so simple that the janitor gets it and so complex that the engineer gets it. This feels like it's a spectrum, and that's what this feels like. Old glory drop-off zones to retire your flags. I mean, we have people who are literally standing on our corners with signs saying, homeless, need help, feed me. We have people on television being advertised to us from our own country who cannot eat, cannot pay their bills, are losing their jobs daily, are losing help from every sector, have to resort to the worst sort of government help if they can even get it. They lose their homes inevitably. There's no low-income housing. And as we watch housing rates rise, it just increases the homeless rates. And it just increases people losing their homes. And another housing bubble is starting, people think another housing bubble is starting to develop. Because housing prices are going up and wages are staying stagnant, which is what happened last time. In 2006 and 5. And it led to inevitably 2008. Now, the old glory drop-off zones are like this distraction from that. And I think they're done in 2 ways. Sometimes I think the Pentagon is responsible for these things. Sometimes I think that they create these, maybe through the private sector, just to create you have to have the whole society engaged in warfare constantly. The idea of war. We have to be bred with war. It's why why the contradiction never even crossed those celebrities' minds when they did the anti-gun ads after Sandy Hook and continue to make movies where they kill people with guns. The contradiction never even entered their heads because it's America. America is the home of murder and guns and violence. We're the largest military that has ever been on the planet Earth. That's a true fact. We have Army, Navy, Air Force, Marines. We have Special Forces. We have a whole intelligence community that encompasses the private sector, the public sector, international, and domestic. When you have things like the old glory drop-off zone to respect your put your American flag down respectfully, what you're really saying is, I'm so dumb and I'm so uninterested in the truth that I'm going to let myself be propagandized to that war is good. That somehow that flag equates to a soldier. Because that's what they're doing when they say it must be retired with respect. You know, what are they, burying it at sea? It's unbelievable to me how cynical that is. And you know, some asshole, fuckface, dickhead who lives in Virginia came up with this idea, who's a millionaire and is making money off of this some fucking how. Donations or whatever. It's amazing to me that we're so bizarre and so willing to let things like that. Those drop-off zones, people go to their drop-off zones. I watch people in Walmart and I don't go to Walmart, okay. But people in other places, I've watched them thank soldiers for their service. Thanking some guy who lives in Anchorage, Alaska. What are you protecting us from exactly up here? The Taliban, ISIS crossing the river, crossing the ocean, coming in. I mean, what the fuck are you doing here? You know, for strategic global positioning. I mean, and why are you thanking him? Why are you thanking somebody who flies drones, who flies video games and kills people? Why are you thanking these quote-unquote soldiers who have such advanced technology over their opponent that it's almost laughable if you really analyze it? And all you have to do is watch one video of any of our troops in Afghanistan or Iraq. And you see they're all dressed, they're suited and booted, head to toe. They got optics and fucking computers and fucking, they can communicate with, and they're going into a village with guys with AK-47s from the 70s that the Russians left over. It's so bizarre to me to live in a country that's so unbelievably propagandized that retiring an American flag is somehow even in our lexicon. Like, it's even in our consciousness. Like, anyone could even pull that off. And it's been going on since 9/11. So, folks, have to go now. Of course, I've got to go take my American flags and take them to one of these spots now, because apparently it'll probably be the law soon that you have to take your American flag to one of these retirement zones. And I'm hoping it has a good retirement. You know, I'm gonna leave it with a carton of cigarettes and, you know, some money and a cell phone if he needs to call me. Come home. My parents told me that it's going to a farm somewhere with a family that'll treat it with the respect and dignity it deserves. So, folks, if you have an old flag somewhere that you just don't have the balls to throw away, take it to one of these Old Glory retirement zones for Old Glory flag zones, whatever they want to call them, designated spots, and give your flag the proper respect it deserves. You're throwing it away. Amen.